you now.
Hey guys, Ryan and Greg here for another video on American Horror Story Apocalypse. It's time now to break down and review all of Season 8.
Yes, we're gonna go over the good, the bad, our favorite moments, and we're gonna rank this season with other seasons in the past.
It's not the best.
It's up there.
As always, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're gonna go back and rewatch past seasons of American Horror Story. That's right, we're gonna cover Asylum, Freak Show, Hotel, and Roanoke. Also, if you haven't picked up one of these Stu t-shirts yet, well, here's another chance. For the holiday weekend, we're gonna give you 25% off. Use the code Black Friday starting on Thanksgiving at 9 p.m. Pacific until November 27th at 12 a.m. Pacific. You can pick up any Universe logo t-shirts and E3 designs as well. Thank you guys so much for the support. First, guys, Greg and I owe you guys an apology. We're not perfect. We got a few things wrong in some of these breakdowns, but thank you guys for calling us out. First up, Myrtle didn't kill Jeff and Mutt. She said she wanted to kill Jeff and Mutt in the season finale, but she couldn't because obviously they had to go through with the plan in order to get the witches into the outpost.
Yes, so she put a spell on them to wipe their memory or something, but that's it. Nothing.
Suppose I must get to the most unpleasant part of my visit.
What's that?
The part where I have to leave before killing you both. Good day.
Also, you need those guys alive because she can't just kill them off. You need them for the rest of the plan to go forward.
Right, they're making sure certain people get into certain outposts.
Yeah.
I think I said numerous times that there was a protection spell over the witches in the Louisiana swamps after the apocalypse had taken place. Now, you guys called me out. You know, the Louisiana swamps and the ground and the soil there has so many nutrients that can basically bring someone back to life. So I think that what we feel is that they buried themselves alive.
Yes.
When the bombs were going off, and you know, I think it was a year or a little bit over a year or two, they rose back from the dead.
Yeah, sure.
And then they went to
go with that.
Went to Outpost 3.
Okay. This also wipes out the theory that we thought maybe it had something to do with Halloween. They can come back, their souls can be risen for one day.
Right.
Yeah, that's out of the question now.
All we know is that the soil down in New Orleans is very, very rich to bring back life. And then finally, the 1987 film Anastasia is a Fox property. Don Bluth Animation, Fox Animation.
Not Disney.
Not Disney.
Well, technically.
Greg? I'm sure we got a few other things wrong, but you know, we appreciate you guys kind of helping us understand all the little details that are going on in this show. It can be easily misinterpreted. So thank you guys for you know, the eagle-eyed viewers that we have out there.
It's all good. Scream at us, hit us up on Twitter, let us know if we got something wrong. It's all good. Okay, let's go over what we liked. Let's start off with just the fact that they crossed over for the first time ever. We finally got a season where 2 seasons actually cross over.
Yeah.
After so much time of Ryan Murphy teasing us and telling us that they're all in the same world, I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was really a fun way to bring all the different worlds and all the different seasons that we've watched before into one season. And I think that the pinnacle of that was the Return to Murder House episode, when we actually get to go back to the house and see a bunch of the spirits that are there, and then get the Coven witches there and just see those worlds kind of collide.
Yes.
I think it was everything that we dreamed of when we heard that this season was gonna have a crossover.
It's so good.
I'm thinking like that would have been, Return to the Murder House would have been one of the most perfect season premieres if they had used that as a jumping off point for this season to start. But regardless, it was just one of the most standout moments of this season.
We're the new owners. Who are you?
I'm Constance Langdon, and this is my fucking house.
Not only the return to Murder House, but I just love the return to humor and camp this season compared to last season where Colt was day and night.
It was a little intense last season, right?
Yes. And this season, for a second, you thought it was going to be just as intense with the bomb. The first 15 minutes, you're like, oh no, I don't know if I can take this. But then right from there, when you get inside the outpost, it is just line after line, and it's bitchy, it's fun. I loved it.
On top of that, it was really cool to see the world building of the witches and the warlocks and the Hawthorne School, and kind of get some background into this whole dynamic and the power struggle between these two that has been going on for years and years.
Honestly, next to Return to Murder House is my favorite episode. Easily number 2, and I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna love this too, is Could It Be Satan?
Yeah.
That is easily the second best episode of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Did you say this was a boy, as in male?
Ariel, you actually believe this?
Yeah, you're totally right. And before this, we had only watched, we'd seen Coven, so we knew the witches' side. And then to get a little bit of, a background on the warlocks, I know we saw Quentin in the Coven season, who was one of the warlocks that was on the Witches' Council in the Coven season. I know that's a little bit confusing right there, but now we get some background into like the male perspective in that, and what's been going on, and then to add the Antichrist and the prophecy of the Alpha. It was a really cool integration into different types of mythologies.
They can go somewhere with this in the future, hopefully.
Now let's talk about the standout or most valuable performance of the entire season, and I think this one's a no-brainer.
Oh, of course.
It has to be Cody.
Stu.
No, Greg, it's not Stu. It was Cody Fern who played Michael Langdon. We learned about Michael Langdon back in Murder House, at the very end of Murder House, and then to see him become this man-child, let's say, with these intense, enormous powers, Cody Fern has played it remarkably.
He's got to stick around this franchise. I'm sorry, I can't get enough of Cody Fern on this show. He's slowly growing in the Ryan Murphy universe. What do we want to call that?
Yeah.
He's in Versace right now, and I really hope that Cody Fern comes back for season 9, 10, or however far they go in this season.
I think there's a good chance he will, and we're going to talk about that later on, because there is an Instagram from Ryan Murphy. I like to be on Murphy's Instagram, and there's a little bit of a hint that Cody Fern might be back
in something
with
Ryan Murphy.
And we're hoping fingers crossed, it's American Horror Story.
When I've already won.
You haven't won.
Perhaps you haven't noticed the state of the world.
It's almost as bad as your dinner jacket, but at least the world can be saved.
I want to shout out Frances Conroy for everything I talked about earlier in the show. She really applies to all that. And also on top of that, fashion.
Yeah,
I mean, every look was just as good as the last look. She's been wonderful this season.
And I think she's probably one of the most quotable characters that we've seen, even during the Coven days as well. But in this show, I mean, all the quick remarks that she has about the Warlocks, everything all the shade that she throws. We are just huge fans of what Frances Conroy has done with this character. Sucks that she's dead though.
She's dead again, for now.
Yeah.
Again.
Until the next time.
They can write one quick line and she's back. It's all good. Also, I want to give a shout out to Billy Porter.
Yes.
As Behold, I'm sorry. That was, again, one of the reasons I loved Return to Murder House so much, is because him and Madison Montgomery together in a room, it worked.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that in a million years, but it's perfect. And on top of all that, Billy Porter's been great in Pose this season, and if you haven't seen that yet, please watch Pose.
I also want to give a little shout out to Kathy Bates, one of our favorites, who's each season is just amazing, and to play
she's like Bring It On.
The Devil Mama here, who turns into a Robo Devil Mama. She's just evil.
She's game for anything.
You know what still sticks into my head is that when she's laughing maniacally when she's getting burned alive and she's still smiling. I cannot get that out of my head. I just think that Kathy Bates, she's one of the legends in the game. So shout out to Kathy Bates. Also Sarah Paulson.
Of course.
Playing numerous roles, of course.
Director now.
As an actor and a director. She directed Return to Murder House, her first time directing. She did a phenomenal job. She watched she was in Coven, but she watched a ton of it, rewatched a ton of it, and you could tell like we were immediately brought back to that season in the episode. So shouts to Sarah Paulson for her excellent job as always this season.
Okay, let's go over what we didn't like this season. I have a feeling I know what number one is for everyone. Let's talk about the flashbacks.
Yeah, I think that just the over-reliance on the use of flashback, on how they told the story was a bit much. Episodes 1 through 3 were great. Set us up in this outpost in this post-apocalyptic world.
Timothy and Emily.
Yeah, and then we don't hear from these characters until the end of the season finale. So from episodes 4 through 9, we're just kind of reliving what happened to get all these characters here. Yeah. And I kind of just wish that they didn't have that. That's not how they structured the story.
It took a huge halt, but it expects you to, it takes your hand and goes, some keys, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, ignore that right now. We got, Return to Murder House, here's the Rubber Man, here's everything else, Timothy and Emily, all that crap, put it to the side.
But by the time we get back to the current story in the season finale, like I'm not invested in the characters that we met in the beginning. It's hard to stay connected to that whole plot because we haven't been around it for so long. So I just think the use of the flashbacks, I wish it would have been a little bit toned down.
Or they could have the way they edited it, the way they wrote this season could have been a little different, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of is the anticlimactic showdown between Mallory and Michael at the end. You know, they were posed as these powerful entities, you know, Michael being the Antichrist and having his powers, and then Mallory, you know, they faced off very quickly in the beginning of the season, and then they come down to the last episode, and I mean, an SUV, a hit and run with an SUV is what we take down the Antichrist with, when we know, like, all we've been told all season long is how powerful they are. All she has to do is get into a 4x4 and then, you know, and then run them over. I wasn't happy with how mundane the showdown was after a season of all of this magic and voodoo. You know what I mean?
That was their point for doing that, and I understand why they did it, because they didn't want to have that moment of, one, technical issues here. You want to make a giant spectacle,
right?
Special effects everywhere for something that's just going to take 1 second, and two, again, running him over and over again. It's just setting the point that we don't give a shit. This is our show, and we're going to do whatever we want.
Yeah,
that was their point. It's their rebellion against it. I'm fine with that. All right, let's talk about time travel. I was okay with it until the very end. We knew it was coming at some point.
Yeah.
And I had the feeling in the back of my head, the second the bomb went off, I'm thinking, okay, they may have to go back and do a little time travel here to fix this. But I did not expect for them to really retcon the entire season, though.
Yeah, you know, the thing about time travel is that it makes everything that happened completely pointless.
Everything you watch
and you invested your time in, you know, none of those deaths, none of those character arcs, right? I mean, people go through transformations. Let's talk about Madison Montgomery. She goes through a complete, like, you know, turnaround in her life and what she cares about.
That's what stings the most about this season.
Yeah,
is
and it just
Madison's
takes it all away.
Character. Yeah. From that and her whole arc, and then the last second, she's still stuck in hell, and that's the last thing you hear about her.
We had thought that she maybe redeemed herself, that she maybe like turned into a leaf, but no. Then it just turns out she's stuck in hell. We're gonna keep her down in hell a little bit longer. You know, that's Madison.
That's not good.
I just think time travel was an easy way to write your way out of anything.
Well, that's how time travel is used in almost any work.
That's true.
Star Trek can tell you that too. Hey, how do we get out of this problem? Well, I don't know, time travel before anybody met. Yeah, no. I would actually love it if someone put this season in order chronologically.
Yeah, that would be a fun watch, actually.
And see if it makes any sense. There's probably some holes in there, especially Timothy and Emily, but that's gonna be a little weird. But I would love if they can just fix this season and see what happens in order, like in Arrested Development, what they did for season 3.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Another thing that I didn't enjoy that much was, you know, I was waiting for all the witches to come back, to resurrect them, bring them back from the personal hell. We get Misty Day back, and she doesn't do anything. She's there for like one White Witch performance, gets to hang out and twirl in the living room, but you know, there's no Misty Day in the final showdown.
You should have left me where I was.
What?
Why? That man you sent to fetch me, he gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I kind of agree, but Misty really hit the checkpoints for all the stuff fans wanted for her. You got her spin. You got her singing with, you got the spin, you got her singing with the White Witch, Stevie Nicks. That's really all they wanted, and that's it. You even got to sing with her back in hell, and Cody saves her, so.
I get that.
You get what you want, that's it. They're giving you nothing but the hits.
I do get that, but you know, she played such a big role in Coven. She was, you know, she's obviously a very significant character.
And they gave that role to Mallory this time.
Yeah, you're right. I just wish that kind of she played a bigger role towards the end there than just, hey, let's get her in there for a reunion of sorts, and then she's gone.
Oh man.
Speaking of short-lived reunions, Marie Laveau, we got to have Angela Bassett back for about what, 10 minutes? If that?
Oh no, it wasn't even 10 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't even 10 minutes. I would have loved to see her a little bit involved, a little bit more. The problem with all these flashbacks and the reliance of the time travel thing was that so much had to happen in that last like 30 minutes or 45 minutes that I don't think you could give enough time to each person.
Yeah, we talked about that the week prior. We're like, if there's a cameo, it's gonna be quick, and it sure the hell was.
Darkest and most corrupt voodoo queen soul for mine. You serve him well in my place.
Next, I can also do without Mutt and Jeff. sorry.
Agreed.
The haircuts and all, it was funny and goofy the first like 5 minutes you're with them, but then after that you're like, okay,
Way
you can
over
go
the
now.
top.
That's
A
it.
little bit too much. I didn't need any of that. Like that whole, and the way that it's so obvious that they're manipulating Michael Langdon and that he's just, I get it. He's like a weak, immature young boy inside this powerful, with these powerful.
What he doesn't know what to do with yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But the way that it was just so, like, just so obvious that like he shouldn't be manipulated in that way by these two douchebags.
The world is a raging clusterfuck, and we need to burn this motherfucker to the ground! Wipe that slate clean and start over. This time, do it right.
And then on top of it, their motivations for wanting to end the world. I mean, pissed off at traffic, pissed off at someone dropping coffee on them. I mean, that's all happened to all of us, and we're not destroying what we see around us. It's just ridiculous motivations. And then finally, what about Mallory? Did you think that she was an effective character to go off against Michael Langdon?
Only thing we knew going in is, okay, Mallory's probably going to be the one to stop him after episode, what was it, 3?
Yeah.
We knew that, okay, she's probably a witch or angel at the time or something like that. Did she ever get an episode dedicated to her character though?
Exactly. I would love to get a little more background on her and see kind of develop her character as someone that's not just following these witches' orders and being told that she's, has all these powers and, hey, show off your butterfly trick, show off your deer trick,
It's just quick.
Let's get to know more about Mallory and where she comes from to get a better idea of like what's at stake. How about some questions that we're kind of still left with after watching this season? There are quite a bit. Number one, we're speaking of Mallory, what is she? Who is she? Is she a descendant
She's a Supreme. She's a Supreme.
She's a Supreme.
That's all we know now.
Is she more than a Supreme? Is she an angel? Is she a descendant? We know she's a descendant from Salem, supposedly. Is she a descendant from like Scathach that we've seen in Roanoke? Is she seems more powerful than just a normal Supreme.
I want to believe that she's related to Scathach, but we got nothing on that. One line on that would have been cool. Nothing.
Another question we have, do we have any idea who was in the Rubber Man suit?
Nope. And since we don't, we can just go with Tate Langdon. Just keep Tate in the suit then.
Unless
Unless they tell us otherwise.
I do remember reading an interview with Cody Fern, and he's talking about, what Michael Langdon can control, and he can kind of control the demons, Satan's demons, and that he can kind of, push people to make the horrible decisions. Like he didn't kill Gallant, or he didn't have Gallant kill Evie. He kind of just pushed him into that area.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So who is the physical manifestation of Rubber Man? We know it's rubber suit. We know it wasn't
because
Michael
he never
Langdon himself.
Did that power. He never had the power to bring someone to, like a mirage or make a ghost or anything pop up.
Which is weird. Which is weird to include it in that episode because, we saw Michael Langdon as a younger kid in the murder house wearing the suit. So it would lead you to believe that, that was him in that suit who's worn it numerous times and fucking tormented and killed people with it. Explain, Michael, explain.
Also, what's going on in the murder house? I guess we can assume that, Tate and Violet, they're not together. They're back to the old days.
Yeah, after everything was reversed, Constance didn't die. Although I do think that Constance probably would have died in the murder house so that she could join the spirits there eventually. She just wouldn't have committed suicide soon. But she will eventually die in the murder house to stay with her family and all the spirits there. Moira didn't get a chance to meet with her mom and then go off and get out of the murder house. Tate and Violet they have not reconciled. Violet does not want to talk to Tate.
And does this ruin the Tate redemption arc that we had too?
I was never in on the Tate redemption arc.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to keep that out there.
Tate's a horrible entity, a horrible spirit. I never was on Team Tate, so let that be known.
All right, I'm for that.
You didn't spring from my nutsack, got it? Not even I could create something as monstrous, as evil as you. You stay away from me.
Okay, let's talk about Timothy and Emily real quick. What was going on there? What was their purpose? And I do mean this now, looking back, like it was just like a Rick and Morty episode and Rick was Ryan Murphy and they're the little robot.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my God.
So they're the devil's backup plan. That's it.
Yeah, but this still doesn't make any sense to
In
me
any
at
timeline,
all. Like
they're
the
the
devil
devil's
can just
backup.
choose,
Yeah.
and he can just decide that any two normal people, would then conceive the offspring of his spawn.
Yeah.
I mean, I get
Why?
it. Like under the logic of what we learned in Murder House, the prophecy that we heard about the Antichrist, about a spirit and a human conceiving the Antichrist when they're inside the murder house, a literal portal into hell. I get it. Yeah, the Antichrist should be born in that situation, but two people walk on, I don't even know where they are, Santa Monica Boulevard outside a coffee shop, and then they fall in love and give birth to the Antichrist. That's
special genes. These special genes.
Oh, so their genetic 23andMe said, hey, you have a 99% chance of giving birth to the Antichrist. Go ahead, have sex.
Final question, is the apocalypse avoidable?
From what it looks like, it's never avoidable. That it looks like there's constantly good and evil, always fighting, always battling. Even Mallory says that at the end, it'll always continue. Satan will never stop. You might get the better of him one day, but then he'll come right back and, find a new couple to have his child. Do you see a situation where Ryan Murphy uses the apocalypse, maybe comes back to the apocalypse to once and for all end the American Horror Story on FX run, and then it might change when he goes to Netflix, part of his Netflix deal. But at least for the FX run of 10 seasons,
Mutt and Jeff come back one last time.
yeah, and a lot of cocaine's involved, and then finally the apocalypse is just done.
Maybe, I don't know. At the same,
it just blows up the writers' room down in Hollywood.
Okay, now where does this season rank the rest of American Horror Story? Give me your top 5.
Okay, it's hard to rank these seasons. There are a lot of good ones, but there are some
5.
bad ones. Number 5, I have Freak Show. Number 4, Apocalypse. 3, Coven. 2, Murder House. And number 1 is Asylum. Those are my top 5 American Horror Story seasons. How about you?
Oh, okay. All right, for me, number 5 is Cult. As the years go on, it's gonna get better, just like wine, trust me. And then I'll slide in Apocalypse. And number 4, number 3, Roanoke, because I'm sorry, that season's just bonkers. I loved it. 2, Coven. And then 1, Murder House.
Guys, let us know your top 5 in the comments below. We'd love to see what you guys think are the best and worst seasons of American Horror Story. So hit us up with your top 5 in the comments below.
I predict in the future, years from now, when we talk about Apocalypse, everyone's just gonna say, that's the Cody Fern, that's the the Antichrist season of the show. And it kind of reminds me, I'll drop a Drag Race reference for everyone in here. He is the Violet Chachki of this season. Let me explain a little bit. Season 7 is one of the best seasons. Not the best. It's not the best season, but you got so many favorite characters in there, and you also have so many lines and memorable moments. This is what I think of in Apocalypse. So many good lines. And when it comes to like Drag Race and Violet Chachki, you probably never heard that name before. You have never seen an episode of Drag Race in your entire life, but you've come across this GIF or video before.
Reveal.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh! Bay City Roller.
All right, as we wrap this up, let's talk about some very early, very premature predictions for the 9th season of American Horror Story. Now, we know that FX has renewed a 9th and 10th season of American Horror Story, but we have no idea what it's going to be about. It'll probably, most likely,
involve horror.
Be fun, be scary, be over the top.
Sarah Paulson will be there.
Be funny. And it'll probably air around the fall of 2019. They like to do this every fall. What do you think, when do you think it'll be set? Do you think it'll be set in the future? Do you think we're gonna go back in time and more period? Do you think it's gonna be in space? Where would you like to see this go?
Could be cool. Space could be cool, but they gotta have a great budget because at the same time, they stick them in a bunch of just random rooms where you just see the outside of space or some shit. I'm gonna go insane. It happened that way with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., their one season where they're in space and it just felt claustrophobic the entire time. Yeah. I really feel they're gonna go back and do a period piece and give us some nice costumes. I really feel they're just gonna try to separate themselves a little bit like they do almost every season.
I've also read online that a lot of people are into the idea of an alien presence in the next season.
You can do another crossover. You can put Asylum, make this Asylum too.
That's where I was going with it, yeah, definitely. Asylum, we were introduced to some of the extraterrestrials in Asylum. It would be cool to kind of get that, but in the U.S., in our present world, or in the 1950s, 60s, and maybe
like a They Live kind of thing, where
Yeah.
the aliens come down and only a few people realize what the hell's going on.
Yeah, or maybe
Okay.
like an Area 51 thriller with horror involved and government cover-ups.
Just
And
remember Ryan Murphy. Just think of the cat. You got to think. Okay, it's got to have. It's got to.
you know what I want? This is what I want. Over the top campy meets X-Files horror.
Okay. You know, they could just go forward with their Madison Behold story. Just do the spin-off there.
That would be amazing. I would definitely watch that.
They could follow aliens and try not and just try their hardest not to get
Madison
sued.
and Behold just go from haunted house to haunted house and just try to communicate with the spirits.
That's all I really want now.
I mean, that would be pretty
Honestly.
incredible. They just go house hunting, basically. They just like find good houses to flip for a profit, and they also just talk to the spirits there and have like just hangout sessions with them.
Congrats on your new home.
Don't worry, we'll burn some sage.
Please, Ryan Murphy, Behold, Madison, spin-off.
Yes.
Please.
And let's leave you with this. I like going on Ryan Murphy's Instagram, and Ryan Murphy posted this photo of 3 familiar faces that you would recognize from American Horror Story. That is Cody Fern, Darren Criss, and Finn Whitrock. Now he said that he is, quote, cooking up something good for these 3. I am just fingers crossed that it is American Horror Story, because we've seen all their
Might be
faces on
crime.
American Horror Story. We'll watch crime as well, but if it's Horror Story, doesn't confirm that the Antichrist is back, but at least Cody Fern, a new face from this year, will be back in doing a new role in the show.
I'm all for it. Dandy Mott, is he coming back as something new? No, of course not.
Dandy
But
was messed up.
no, that's not happening. Where's Sarah Paulson? Is she gonna play all these characters
Oh, yeah,
at
no.
the same time too? Like,
Paulson and Evan Peters are shoo-ins regardless. They'll be heavily involved, and I expect her to definitely probably direct another episode as well. And maybe even Peters wants to get behind the camera, but
and Kathy Bates.
And Kathy Bates will be back. I mean, hopefully, I love seeing
Billy Porter.
I love
can
seeing
keep
all
going.
these faces year after year. I mean, that's one of the great things about this, and seeing where these actors take these characters and kind of create their own spin on them. It never gets old.
Satan has one son. But my sisters are legion, motherfucker.
Guys, let us know any other questions, any other thoughts of what you had on season 8. We look forward to reading what you guys think. And also, we're going to go back and then start recapping previous seasons. Are you ready for this? Starting with Asylum. I think we're going to jump into Asylum. So any ideas you guys have for Asylum, let us know in the comments below. Also, go check out that Stu shirt. You need something for the holidays.
Right? Banji.